We're going to dive into how you can leverage Google Scholar for your Mapping the Controversy assignment and other research assignments outside of English 1030. We are starting with Google Scholar as most of us are familiar with Google Search, and Google Scholar searches what Google considers scholarly from its electronic index. This includes journal articles, content from institutions, books, and more. Just like any resource, Google Scholar has advantages and limitations. This table outlines some of the advantages and disadvantages of Google Scholar. So with advantages, if you are familiar with Google Search, Google Scholar will feel very familiar with how it searches and presents results. Google Scholar allows researchers to find a wide variety of materials, including articles, books, gray literature like conference proceedings, on a vast number of topics. When logged in with your Clemson Google account, you will be given full text access to some sources that are blocked by paywalls. Google Scholar provides related articles, how many times an article has been cited, and formatted citations. Some limitations of Google Scholar include that results are wide-ranging, but they are not comprehensive, so it definitely shouldn't be the only resource that researchers use. Google Scholar doesn't tell us why they consider something scholarly, so researchers will need to critically evaluate sources for suitability. The number of results can be overwhelming to some users, and lastly, Google Scholar cannot filter out peer-reviewed sources. There are two ways to access Google Scholar. The first way is through the library's homepage, found at libraries.clemson.edu. You can select to search Google Scholar within the main search box. It will automatically recognize that you are affiliated with Clemson University and will provide full text options that are available through Clemson libraries. Use keywords in the search box. To access an article if blocked by a paywall, select Full Text at Clemson from the Google Scholar results page. You will be taken to a page that will provide a link on how to view the full article. Under the heading View Online, select the link provided. Because access to this article is through Clemson libraries, authenticate that you are affiliated with Clemson University by entering in your Clemson University credentials when prompted. The second way to access Google Scholar is to go to scholar.google.com. Make sure you are logged in with your Clemson Google account and that you are linked with Clemson libraries in order to maximize access to results. To ensure that you are able to access items linked with Clemson libraries, go to the menu icon on the top left side of the page and select Settings. Then select Library Links. Then search for Clemson University and check the box next to Clemson University and press the Save button. You can use the same search tips and operators in Google Scholar as you can in Google Search. Quotation marks keeps words or phrases together within your results. Capitalize AND tells Google Scholar that all keywords must appear in your results and will narrow down your search results. Capitalized OR tells Google Scholar that either of the keywords must appear in your results or will broaden your results. Lastly, the minus sign next to a word excludes certain keywords from your results. The minus sign will narrow down your search. You can also limit the results in Google Scholar by filtering for publication date on the left side of the page. You can also conduct an advanced search by going to the menu icon and selecting Advanced Search. You will have the option to get very specific with your search with the Advanced Search tool. With any results, it is important to evaluate them. Because we do not know the criteria that Google Scholar uses to classify these sources as scholarly, it's important to do some investigation on these sources. Authority is contextual, meaning that authority or credibility may look different in different contexts. It depends on the purpose that you're using the source as evidence. With academic research, you are making an argument with the sources you use and how you are using them. For your Mapping the Controversy assignment, you will be showing that you found various viewpoints or evidence to back up your claims, and some are going to be more opinionated than traditional research papers that require more objective, factual information from traditional authoritative sources, where experts are in a certain field. For your position statement, you'll also be using evidence to support your claims, so evidence will look differently depending on the claims you make within these assignments. If you are using Google Scholar, you are probably in search of scholarly works, which traditionally have authority in the academic and higher education communities. To investigate authority, let's first investigate the author's credentials and the publisher of the article to critically evaluate if they have expertise in the subject matter. To do this, click on the author's name to get their Google Scholar profile if they have one, to learn more about the author, such as their affiliations, publications, and how many times their works have been cited by others. If the authors do not have a profile, click on the article and look for the information about the author by hovering or clicking their name. Because journals have different publishers, these pages will vary from one another. You can also investigate the journal of the article. Use Wikipedia to search for the journal to learn more about the journal. Wikipedia provides a consensus on an array of topics, so it is helpful for learning introductory information such as learning if a journal is peer-reviewed or not. It will also help us understand its purpose and its intended audience. First, look at the title of the journal. Then, search for the journal name in Wikipedia. Read more about the journal to learn more, such as if it's an academic journal and if it's peer-reviewed. So for Social Sciences Quarterly, I see that it's a peer-reviewed academic journal. I see who its publishers are, what it covers, and I also see how long it has been around. So it's really helpful when trying to learn more about this source. Let's talk currency. Currency refers to how current the source is based on its publication date. Depending on your research topic, you may have to pay closer attention to these dates. If you are researching something that is more of a current event or something in the sciences, you may want research that is more current to support your claims. If you are providing some historical context for your research, your evidence might be a bit older. Older doesn't necessarily mean it is not relevant, as it just depends on your topic. Remember, you can filter for publication years on the left side of the page in Google Scholar. Let's talk accuracy. Sometimes it is difficult to tell if something that you read is considered accurate. To evaluate accuracy, find out if the information has been supported by evidence. Does the author supply references, and do those references seem appropriate and credible? Look for information on if the source has been reviewed in any way or if you can verify the information in another source. Let's talk about relevance. Relevance is about evaluating if a source is the best one for you to use. You're going to find a lot of relevant works out there, but it may take some reading to see if a source is the most relevant for your needs. To do this, ask yourself, does this particular source that I'm looking at help make the point I'm trying to make? And ask yourself, is this the best source for my argument? For example, on Google Scholar, you may find a thesis by a student that is published from a university. The thesis may have been reviewed by an advisor, but the question here is whether or not the thesis is the best source out there for you. In this case, look at the references in the thesis to lead you to publications published with more traditional expertise or to the original source. Google Scholar provides citation help. Simply select the quotation marks below the result and select the appropriate citation style. Sometimes Google Scholar citations are not 100% accurate, so double check them along with your MLA handbook. So what this would look like is, for this particular example, we see that Google Scholar has classified this particular entry as a book. So therefore, its generated citation format is for a book. So I do want to double check this, and I see that beside the author's name is the publication date and the actual publication source, which is called ERIC. And since I've never heard of ERIC before, I'm just going to click on the link to this particular result, and I see that this is what it looks like. And I'm looking at it a little bit further, and I notice on the right hand side that it's actually a non-journal. It says it's also 39 pages, which makes me believe that this is not actually a book. So I'm going to investigate this a little bit further into Wikipedia. And when I put ERIC in Wikipedia, this is what pops up. It redirects here. And this is actually an online digital library of education research and is provided by the U.S. Department of Education. So I would need to change my book citation format to an article from an online database. So it's really important to double check citations created with any citation generator. Think of these generated citations as a draft version that more than likely will need some revision.